What's up, y'all? It's Christopher, and you are watching episode 1 of the No Service Chris channel. As I said, my name is Christopher. I am going to be using this channel to document what it's like doing the car life thing. I have lived in Southern California for the last 6 years. All the way through that time, I've had a variety of different living circumstances. Primarily doing the typical standard apartment, pay rent, live in an apartment thing. And through a series of circumstances, I have decided that it no longer makes sense for me to do that. And so at the beginning of this month, April 1st of 2021, I officially moved into my car full time. Today is April 26th, so I'm almost done with month 1, and it's been interesting for sure. A lot of times when you see these car life or even van life channels, the people are traveling, and they're living a more or less nomadic lifestyle. I will be doing some of that on this channel. Since I started doing this, I've had a couple days off, just like random holidays from work, where I've done some travel, and we'll definitely add that to the future episodes. But my channel is going to have a little bit of a twist because I am more or less stationary. Outside of weekend stuff or, vacation time that I have scheduled for the future, I'm stationary. I'm in the same city. That has not necessarily been true the entire month. As I said, I did some travel up north earlier at the beginning of the month. I actually started out the month with a 4-day weekend from work, and I went up north to Yosemite, and we'll get into that in future episodes. But I have spent a couple nights in cities abroad living in my car, but more or less I've been in Southern California, just kind of finding spots here and there, doing the residential stealth thing, and so far so good. I haven't got the dreaded knock yet. I haven't, I've had a couple weird situations where I feel like people kind of notice me as I'm getting ready to drive away in the morning, but I more or less can live with that at this point, as long as, they're not really getting too much in the mix and, getting the authorities involved. It's a situation where the show up late, leave early rule applies, and that was something that I didn't necessarily, I was a little looser with it earlier on, and now that I have a couple weeks under my belt, I'm starting to kind of, really understand how valuable that truism is. I show up basically at 10 wherever I decide to sleep for the night, and I'm out by 6. And I find that that's working better. The only times I don't do that are on the weekends, and I go to an entirely different neighborhood on the weekends from the nights that I stay, the location that I stay during the work week, which has its drawbacks and its advantages in terms of kind of changing things up. But yeah, as I said, I've been doing this for 3 weeks, with the exception of one night. I did get an Airbnb one night, just to kind of cut my hair and shave, things that I really don't feel comfortable doing in public. But I am in a really, really unique situation that's really allowed this to happen, in that I work in an office where I'm part of a very small team. It's just me. So I work in a kind of larger department, but my sub department is a team of, I guess you could say, 4, but 2 of them are entirely remote. One of them works in Arizona full time. One of them works in Alabama full time. And then there's one other member of the team, but she only comes in once a week. And so I'm really the only one who goes into the office. Now, within my sub department, I'm the only one, but in my building on the floor that I'm on, first of all, within the building, there are other sub departments that are operating there, but then outside of that, there are also other little departments that are in other wings. And so within my wing, there's a decent amount of people, but they're more or less on, the building I work in is like a 2-floor building, and like I'm on the bottom floor, and like there's only like 2 other people who work down there, and they don't even work there every day. I didn't even work there every day. As you know, there's a pandemic still. And so before I just made the decision to live in my car full time, I was working from home 3 days a week. Obviously kind of hard to work from home when you don't have a home. So I started going into the office every day by choice. I retained my ability to work from home if something came up that seemed worthwhile to me, but I wanted to really give this a shot, and so I went for it. I've done it for 3 weeks. Surprisingly, I thought for sure I'd be aching, and like my legs, my knees, my back, my elbows, none of that so far. I've really, it's definitely taken some modifications and kind of getting into a rhythm, but honestly, like, it's been like so smooth. Like, I remember one day I had like my elbow was kind of sore, but I think it was just from like sleeping weird on it. It wasn't because I'm sleeping in my car and like just cramped. Like, it's actually been a really, really like, the experience has far outstripped what I thought it was going to be in terms of comfort. And I've always been a hardy dude. Like, I always have found, like, I can sleep pretty much anywhere. Like, you put me in a recliner, you put me on a futon, a couch, a bed, like, fuck, I'll even sleep on the ground. Like, I've always been able to make the best of situations. Like, I've slept on top of, I've been in situations where I've slept on just 3 mattresses stacked on top of each other. I've slept in king-size beds at 4-star hotels. Like, I can sleep and get it in anywhere. And so that's kind of an advantage I have, in addition to the advantage of having such an unusual situation where, like, all the members of my team are remote. And so they're not aware of the rhythms, of my life and how much I'm leaning on the office. I am not staying in the office full time. There isn't a lot. So I do have a key to the office, which is awesome. As I'm the only one who goes in, I need one. And so I have a key, but there's an alarm system that I'm not familiar with. And I also feel like while there isn't a lot of people there, like the cleaning crews and things like that, are kind of, I also don't have a good feel for their rhythms. I've stayed pretty late. I've stayed until like 8:30 at night. I normally go in at 6 a.m. So I find my place to sleep at 10 p.m. I'm up by 6 and I go to the office, and it's amazing because the only thing that's missing in there is a shower, honestly. Like, I have electricity, I have Wi-Fi, I have a bathroom, I have a sink, I have a kitchen, a fridge, freezer, I have space, I have storage, I have like everything I need, like batteries, like for my devices, like everything I need is there except for a shower, which is like the one issue is like figuring that aspect of things out. But honestly, it's been surprisingly good, like the in-car experience. And obviously, I'm not someone who spends like all day in my car. When I travel on the weekends primarily. I stay more or less in the neighborhood that I work in for a couple reasons. Mainly, I feel like if I'm living in my car, one of the beautiful things about it is I shouldn't have to commute. And so that, in addition to being really surprised by how comfortable I've made sleeping in my car, there's also no commute. So not only am I not paying rent, there's no commute as well, and that's been beautiful. It's been a really, really stellar experience. I make sure before I go into the office every day to listen to the traffic report, and honestly, like, I go in at 6, so it doesn't. I live in a bigger city with like a lot of people in it, and so like obviously traffic builds up pretty early. But I always make sure before I go in to listen to the traffic report, and it just kind of like reinforces like that little extra bit of satisfaction, towards this decision. To be totally frank, this is a choice that I made voluntarily. The room that I was renting before I decided to move into my car, I could have stayed at. I have several $1,000s in my bank account, more in, like more space on my credit card, and like I could accrue more debt and things like that. This is entirely voluntary. I'm doing it partially as an experiment. So right now I am planning on doing this for 4 months total. So I'm almost done with month 1. I'm planning on doing this for another 3 months. That's right now. That could change. The decision, the rationale behind that is that I plan on moving. I've been out here way longer than I ever anticipated, frankly, longer than I ever wanted to be. Unfortunately, a really, really just toxic relationship kept me here longer than I ever wanted to be, and we'll get into that in future episodes. But the main idea is that like I'm moving soon, and so it's been kind of a challenge trying to find like a short-term rental that isn't like just totally inflated and misvalued. And so I'm like, why not? Like, I don't have to deal with the headache. So there's different aspects to it. Like, first of all, like, getting an apartment in this area is just so annoying because I'm from the East Coast. So when you say like you set up a viewing for an apartment, like out there, it's you and the representative, whether it's a property management person or the landlord directly. Like, it's you and that person, and that's it. Whereas out here, there's so many people that you can schedule an appointment and it'll literally be you and like 8 other people. And it's just like, that experience in and of itself is annoying, but also add on to the fact that I'm really just looking for a place to stay for a couple more months until I move. And it just doesn't, there are places like that, but they're just so, again, misvalued and just like not worth what they're asking. And so I honestly am just trying it out and seeing how it goes. And so far the experience has been pretty good. There are drawbacks, certainly. I mentioned one with the lack of shower access. I'll get into some other cons in the next episode, but by and large, through 24, 25 days, it's been a surprisingly good experience. Like, I've done it long enough now to where I've gotten that kind of that cycle of paychecks coming in, and it's like, okay, like my bills are taken care of, and then there's no rent. And like, that's happened a couple times and it feels good, obviously. But the idea is that I'm trying to build on that and really make it to a situation where I really can start doing some damage on like, things that I have put off, things that I've wanted to do but haven't been able to do. And honestly, just getting rid of debt. Like, I'm just like most other people, like in their 30s. Like, I got debt. Like, that's just a reality, especially living in California. Unfortunately, when I came out here, I did not have as much debt as I do now. Although it's a different type of debt. When I came out here, I only had like a car payment. And now I have more than just a car payment. But at the same time, I feel like I'm projected, if I can make this happen for another few months, we could be in a really good spot financially, which is, the name of the game here. And so, yeah, I mean, it's been a really good experience so far. Obviously, it's really weird, having to navigate, the mornings, navigate the, shower aspect and staying somewhat clean. Um, it's also been kind of a weird experience, feeding myself and staying hydrated and whatnot. But I'm starting to get into the swing with that, and we'll discuss all those matters in future episodes. I aim to be pretty regular with these, so definitely like and subscribe. If you have any questions for me about what it's like, I'm here. Feel free to drop a comment, or send a message to me. And yeah, we're gonna be documenting 4 months of living in a car, and we'll be doing some traveling. I already have a trip planned to the East Coast for my little sister's college graduation, and we're gonna go up to Acadia up in Maine. So definitely be some footage from that. I also have a Pacific Northwest trip scheduled, since I'm over 2 weeks in with both of my vaccine shots. So I have a trip to the Pacific Northwest in June as well. That's already booked. The flight's already booked. I know exactly where we're going. We're going to Olympic. We're going to North Cascades. Hopefully Canada's open by then and I can get into Vancouver, do a night up there as well. But those two trips are on the books. Who knows? We may do some other stuff in SoCal, some other stuff in California generally. May even pop down to Mexico. I have 2-3 day weekends that don't have a trip kind of assigned to them yet, as my time out west kind of winds down, or at least in SoCal winds down. Memorial Day weekend and 4th of July weekend, I have 3-day weekends, both of those weekends. So thinking about maybe doing a little Mexico City, and if we decide to do that, I'll let y'all know. Obviously, we'll be posting footage and living that up. But yeah, that's episode 1. I'm gonna try and come at y'all with episode 2 tomorrow. And we'll try and make this as regular as possible. I'll try and put things out there for y'all to interact with. Try and build a little community around this if we can. We'll see what we can do. But until then, this is No Service Chris. I'm out. See ya.